All right, I've got a 3/4 inch down shear double bearing bit. Boy, I can hear my bearings on this router. Man, they are on borrowed time. Because this piece is so thin, I mean, it's not that thick, it's going to be close. The bearing needs to follow the original, but also cut this. So there's not a lot of room. Okay. This is one of those operations where I wish I had this a little smaller, just because this piece here is a little flexible. So I'm not going to push down so hard right over there. I'm just going to push down hard right on the outside here. Feed it like this. Okay, well, you remember me saying when I was routing it was going to be a little delicate because there was not much area for the bearing to ride, given the space between the bearing and the knives, the actual blade of the router bits, because there's a washer in there and then there's the bearing, so there's space there. This isn't very thick, but I was able to do it. However, I did get a little, I went underneath right here, and so what I did was I just took my belt sander, my little sander, and just made this shape. And you know what? You'll never know. So it just kind of goes with the whole design. So I screwed up that little area right there, but you'll never know when it's all done. So sometimes that happens, that kind of stuff happens, but because it was a little bit flexible and there was a little give right near the bit there, there was just a little bit of room for error. And I found that little room perfectly, and it didn't do much, but it did do something. It could have been a lot worse. I could have lost the whole piece, and all these pieces would have been trashed. I would have had to make new ones. So it all worked out. Okay, so that double-sided tape works great. Now I just need to break it apart. And I did all the holes, of course, while it's taped up. And that's why I taped up both at the same time, so I could get exactly the same, since they're mirror images. And that works well. So. All right, this goes back inside. And that's a little bit of a trick to get in, being that it's so far back there. Hopefully I can set the first two and then use those to position the next one. Do the mat. Okay, what I did was to make up for the difference after painting this, I'm adding thickness to that diameter. So I wanted to make this a hair bigger to fit over that newly sized piece with all the different layers of paint on it. So I just went ahead and used my oscillating spindle sander and just rotated it around. So it should get on here pretty easily. I just don't want to scratch this up as I slide this piece on. So it was pretty tight when I took it off originally. And I remember thinking to myself, it just seems like a little bit, it's a little bit big at the end there. So that fits good right there. Well, that was an absolute pain. Boy, that added thickness really made it tough to get that on. I have to cover this up with the dust hose. That's why I had to slide it in so far. This doesn't come off. This doesn't change position. This always is covered, so the dust hose covers that up. I'm gonna wash this. I hope this tape comes off nicely. Usually I like to take it off from the bottom and then work my way up to take off the layers that are on top of it. So that's what I'm gonna do. When you take this tape off, it just really smells like clear coat. This is why I polished it, you know? So I'm not exactly sure how this all goes back together. My other one that I have is in my trailer, so can't really look at it, but that looks good painted. Very nice. So other than the bottom brackets, I think it's okay right now. Oh yeah, see that thing's got some serious flex in it. If I don't put the bottom on it, you can see that. So that definitely needs it. Man, that is incredible. All right, I'm just going to check this out and see if it works. If it does, cool. I've gotten kind of lucky with this saw, the way that the guard is fitting. I'm actually able to utilize one of the holes that the table saw fence mounts to. And the slot, basically it fits it. I mean, literally it's perfect. And I'm able to capture the support piece underneath, right? The part that goes down, and then this part connects to it to provide tension. Well, the amount of tension that is provided on the newer ones, they have a rod and you can adjust it. So it gives you quite a bit of room that you can tighten or loosen. So wherever you mount it, you have flexibility. Well, I don't have that flexibility here with this saw, the way it's set up. I just don't have, the steel is really hard to drill into, and it makes it much more difficult. So I found that spot to be absolutely, almost 100% perfect. I realized that the OverArm guard is angling up a little bit. And that is because in order to connect that guy right there, I had to pull it in a little bit. And I don't know if you can tell, but you can kind of see next to the white support piece, you see how this is angled in? Well, I want to take that angle out a little bit. I don't want it angling so much because it's causing this piece to go up. And this is really rigid. So what I'm going to do, I can't make this piece, I can't make it longer, or can I? What I was thinking was, in order to make this longer, I could take this bolt and this nut and bolt out, and I can put a spacer in there. If I put like a 1/4 inch spacer, or essentially just a few washers, I could build up easily a 1/4 inch or even more. I could go however long I want to. To some, it might not be a problem, but I know that this can be level because my other one was, and I adjusted the rod tension on the other one so that it was perfectly level. This one, unfortunately, I don't have that rod. So, it is what it is. I'm going to create my own spacers and make the rod essentially. And basically what it is it goes in here, and it's right there. You can see that nut and bolt right there. So I will take this off. Now, in order to take this off though, I have to take away all that tension from this guy, which means I have to pull this away, pivot it to the right. There's no tension on it when it's to the right. All right, you can see right there, see where those holes are? And I need to push this guy a little bit. So I'm gonna actually take off I'm gonna take off these two on the underside one, take them off, and then I'm actually going to put a longer bolt and a nut. And then I'm gonna use the nut to essentially make it longer. Let me try it and just see where it is. There's not a lot of room. All right, let's see how this is. Oh my God. Okay, so that's gonna push it a little ways, not that much. But before it was the opposite. So that little bit might help. That looks nice. Actually looked really good. Moment of truth. Yeah, it's going downhill now just a touch, I think. Yeah, okay, so that is going downhill a little bit, but I can adjust that. All right, success, finally. This guy looks nice, perfect. And what I did was I actually took the longer bolt right there, and I took a nut, and then I took another nut that went on the far side, and that created basically an adjustable situation. So if I want to adjust this, all I have to do is turn it. But at this point, everything looks good, so I don't need to do anything. Everything looks like the way it should. So I'm very pleased. It's been, you know, a labor of love, this whole thing, but I hope it comes to an end here soon. Hopefully it'll come to an end soon. Okay, I've got this thing packed pretty good here. Now, this stuff isn't normally in here, so that's why I'm bringing this up. My lay jig, I've got my Jointech router fence here and its components. I've got my extra table for the sliding table saw. I have both crosscut sleds for the general. This one here fit right in there nicely. Bungee cord with a little hole, and it's strapped up nice. I've got my vacuum stand for the Bosch. This is the chop saw hood. This is the Powermatic 66 is for sale. But you see how nice this fits in here, man? This was like a glove. See, the thing is, I have this thing covered up with all these cloths. It drapes down, so I'm not actually touching the saw. I don't want to hurt the saw. But I have inside there, I have another drop cloth on top of the mobile base. So then I have a box on top of that with the vacuum in it. Then I've got my Festool vac here. And this whole area is really pretty good. I've separated this from the work surface. There's plenty of drop cloths down, and they're the thick ones. And then I've got my Biesmeyer fence here. I've got this obviously sitting right there, and again, protected from everything. You know, once things start moving in a trailer, you never know. You try to do your best. So what I'm going to do now, I have everything kind of pulled away from the wall. I'm going to drop my, as best I can, I'm going to put my tarp on this just in case my trailer leaks. And if it does leak, sometimes it goes down that end. I should probably put some stuff on top of the roof, but I've got my general splitter blade guard there. Plus I have the, I had to take off my Wixie metal piece in order to lift this thing up. I had to take it off to protect it. So it's under there, back there. And my door samples I'm going to keep in here. Don't need those. That guy right there, don't need that. All right, tarped up and ready to go. Saying goodbye to my general for a little while at least. Not sure if I'll be reintroducing it or not. It's hard to say. We'll see how it goes.